Hello, everyone, and welcome to Evp'D Myself podcast with me, Jamie.
And I'm Ben.
Me, Michael.
And me, Mike.
So in this episode, guys, we're going to be talking about the history of the Pendle witches. So if you've just joined us, this is your first time listening, welcome. So some information regarding the Pendle witches. A lady by the name of Elizabeth Southerners, aka Old Demdike, and Anne Whittle, which was Mother Chattox, I believe that's pronounced. Old Demdike had been known as a witch for 50 years. It was an accepted part of the village in the 16th century that there were village healers who actually practiced magic and dealt in herbs and medicines. The extent of the spate of witchcraft reported in Pendle at this time perhaps reflected the large amounts of money people could make by posing as witches. Indeed, it was the time when witchcraft was not only feared, but it was also fascinated by those from common village folk to King James I. Now, King James had been greatly interested in witchcraft even before he took the throne in 1603 by writing a book called Demonology, instructing his readers to actually condemn and prosecute both supporters and practitioners of witchcraft. The skepticism of the king became reflected in the feelings of unrest about witchcraft among the common people. So, guys, how do you feel about that?
I mean, it's pretty much a rundown of it, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I find it funny that it all started from pretty much someone asking for, was it like, God, what was it, like metal coins or something, wasn't it? Because then obviously the man who she asked for these objects was like pretty much said no. And then further down the road, he felt ill, didn't he? And they were like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
He's put a hex
you
on
said
her.
no, and obviously, yeah, this isn't good. I've got an idea. What? Let's. Not that.
Posing as witches, though, to make money. I mean,
still happens to this day.
It does. It still happens to this day.
The funny thing is, though, when you look at it, what they're saying is that witches, if you got like a common cold or something, and a woman like asked you for money or like gave you sex or something, and then you got ill, you were classed as a witch. Like, so basically anything to do with anything that you did, like, just happened out of nowhere.
That's funny.
This
day and age, you call it an STD.
Back in them days as well, if you were left-handed, you were a witch as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've heard
I'll have been screwed straight.
I mean, not being funny, can you imagine, like, the amount of times that people have gone out and not remembered it? Does that mean that the woman they were sleeping with was a witch?
Oh, that's shocking, that poor woman.
Shout out to the Andover Massive.
For all the witches out there.
Yeah, for all the witches, yeah.
Do you guys know about the trials that were held at Lancaster?
I know that it went from that. Obviously that man falling ill to then obviously, it's like a snowball effect, wasn't it? It started from that girl being accused, and then it was next thing you know is, oh yeah, by the way, just while we're on the subject, you also killed 10 people. Like, how did it get to there? Well, that was the thing about witches back in those days, wasn't it, though? Is once they were accused of one thing, everything that happened in the surrounding area, they pretty much just threw onto them.
Yeah, they accused 2 families, though, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like I mentioned, yeah.
They didn't like each other, didn't it? So it was like, oh, well, you don't like them and you don't like them, and we think you're both witches, so obviously you two fighting have caused all this.
It's the modern-day Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, just instead of, like,
loving each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much just someone, like, throwing black cats at each other or something.
Yeah, and instead of those really nice cars, they use broomsticks.
Yeah, pretty much. And the funny thing is like, obviously, there was so many of them that got accused, around the Pendle area. But then there's always one person who ends up getting it, like, trialed in York, isn't there? Like, York is always there. It's like, so whenever I go to York now, you just automatically think of death. Like, your history is so dark. Like, this happened in another village, but you were like, no, we like executing people. Let us have a bit of that. Give us one. So we make our own stories up. And then one died in prison, so I think I'd say that was a lucky escape, even though they did die. But considering what they were probably going to go through, I'd probably say it was a
Well,
better
guys,
death.
actually, guys, I can tell you the trials were actually held at Lancaster between the 7th Lancaster prison, that is, between the 17th and the 19th of August in 1612. And old Demdike never reached trial. The dark, dank dungeon in which they were imprisoned was too much for her to survive. 9-year-old Janet Device, I believe that's said, could be wrong, was a key supplier of evidence for the Pendle witches' trial, which was allowed under the system from King James. All normal rules of evidence could be suspended for witch trials. Someone so young would not have been able to supply key evidence normally. Janet gave evidence against those who attended the meeting at Malkin Tower, but also against her own mother, sister, and brother. When she gave evidence against Elizabeth, her mother,
That's
Elizabeth
really
had to
dark though when you think about it, isn't it?
it is, yeah, it was. I mean, Elizabeth had to be removed from the court, screaming and cursing her daughter. And for some of the Pendle witches seemed to be genuinely convinced of their guilt, whereas others fought to actually clear their name.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It
Alison,
shows you how
yeah,
far brainwashing goes there. Because, like,
it
they
does, yeah.
got that bombarded with it, as in, you are witches, you have done this. You've generally made that person now convinced that they have done it, like, maybe accidentally or whatever. Like, it is a very dark time. Like, back then, if you were a witch, it's pretty much, you weren't coming out of it, really. You weren't.
No, because you were burnt at the stake, weren't you? They would literally burn the witches.
Apparently
Well,
so
if
with
they thought
ginger
you were a
people.
witch.
Shout out to the gingers. These are all safe, don't worry. We don't do that no more.
It also actually says, do you want me to correct? It also says Alison Device was one of those who believed in her own powers and was also the only one on trial who was actually faced with one of their victims. I just went so brummy then. John Law and John entered the court. It is documented that Alison fell to her knees and confessed and burst into tears.
Big up the Dudley Massive.
That's the thing I actually heard myself go.
Told ya.
Dudley.
So, I think, like,
Wow, there's a thing on here where she had to read out in court and the evidence presented against him by her sister Janet, who said that she had seen her brother asking a black dog he had conjured up to kill him.
What?
Yeah.
Say that again?
Yeah, so it says James Device pleaded not guilty to the murders by witchcraft of Anne Townley and John Duckworth. I mean, that's a fucking classic name. However, he had earlier made a confession, which was read out in court, and this was presented as evidence against him by his sister, who said that she had seen her brother asking a black dog he had conjured up for himself to kill him. I mean, that's pretty cool magic, or other than that, it's like...
Does anyone want a dog? Because my dog's black, so if I don't trust him now.
Like, is it the power of when you tell somebody something and then they believe it? Persuasion. That's the word.
Gullible.
Thank you. Gullible. Yeah. That they might have been playing a game at some point and said, "Oh, I've got a black dog." It's like saying I've got an invisible friend, and if you say it long enough, people believe you, don't they?
Yeah.
He was able to persuade her that he had a black dog, and then she believed it. Because young kids are quite malleable, aren't they? So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was, the funny thing is whenever you think of, like, witch trials over here, they're not as blown up as like around the rest of the world. Like everyone automatically, you think Pendle Hill or whenever it's saying, you think witches, but you don't really think of anywhere else in Britain about witches. Like someone could say a place to you, and you're like, "What's that?" Like, oh, the the
Well, it's
witches
like
which are there.
Gravely. It was like Gravely, isn't it? Which is just up the road from me. There was 4 witches trialed and killed there.
Which I didn't know.
Yeah, and which is why the 4 witches trees is because they buried them in the woods, and 4 trees grew from their grave. And they came from Sweden, I think it was, and people in Salisbury got smallpox, so they blamed them for it.
Oh,
In all fairness, they could have been carrying something.
Yeah, they might have been. Yeah,
Not necessarily witches, because they're not real, but But it's like I don't get like if we're going to about the executions, why were they always burned? What was
I
with the
don't
thing
think they
about
were.
burning them?
Because
Well,
it
like in
says,
witches in general, it's a stereotypical thing that isn't it? It's they're executed by burning at the stake. But
I think it's
were
to
drowned
pure.
as well.
I think it's to purify. Wasn't that I'm not sure. I'm not really clued up on it. But wasn't when they drowned them, it was a test to see there was you either floated, you're a witch, or if you drowned, you're a witch.
if you floated, you were a witch, I think, and if you drowned, you weren't. That's why they say either way you were screwed, because if you
Yeah.
floated and you're a witch, you were getting executed. But if you drown, you're dead.
Yeah, if you drowned, you were innocent.
See, this is how stupid we were, right? We think, great idea, right? If they drown, then obviously, they're innocent. They're dead, but they're innocent. And if
Yeah,
they
they
float,
die.
we
They
kill 'em.
die. Yeah, they die innocent. Yeah,
It's like,
and I'm
right, wait a
guessing.
minute,
And I'm
hold on.
guessing it's to do with the Bible, isn't it? Like if somebody kills you, you go to heaven. Whereas if
Yeah, pretty much, because if you kill yourself,
yeah,
yeah,
it's so stupid. I mean, like, we didn't do an investigation. We were going to, but to be honest with you, I wasn't really into it anyway. So I didn't
We
want
didn't
to
go
stand on
to
the hill.
we didn't go to the village, Jamie. We went to the hill.
Yeah, because everyone's on about Pendle Hill. Go to the hill. So we went to the hill, and I was like, I'm not standing on top of a fucking hill. It's
Yeah,
not happening.
I don't think we intended to go to the village.
Which we should have. Hey, maybe for my 30th, that's what we could do. We could maybe go and see if anywhere let us do somewhere in Pendle.
I think the church there let you do stuff. I'm not sure.
In all fairness, though, it's like, what are your guys' thoughts on the witches?
I'm just reading.
I like to keep an open mind when it comes to witches. I'm not going to poo-poo the idea.
I am.
But you, Jamie.
I am. I think it's complete bull.
So it says most supposed witches were usually old women, and invariably poor.
Poor bastards. Oh, did you get it, poor bastard?
Yeah. any who were unfortunate enough to be crone-like, snaggletooth, sunken cheeked, with a hairy lip. I can name a few of those. Were assumed to possess the evil eye, and if they had a cat, this was taken as proof.
See, this is why I'm a dog person. I've got all my boundaries covered.
Well, most women
That's
have a
the
cat.
thing. Witches didn't just have cats, though, did they? They're called is it familiars? Something? Is that right?
Isn't that
Familiar?
vampires?
I think you're missing the whole point here. Most women have cats.
I was going to say something there, but I wasn't.
Jesus. Yes, that's where I was going with it, Ben. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's fucking hell. That took a long time, didn't it? Yeah, the cat, and it says, as witches always had a familiar, the cat being the most common. There you go. See, so it's not just me being smutty.
Didn't they have like crows as well? Or am I imagining it?
Don't know. Many unfortunate women were condemned on sort of this sort of evidence and hanged after ongoing appalling torture.
I get that joke. I get the reference. So, where do you reckon though? Like, we must have got to a point in our history where we thought, witchcraft's a bit bollocks, isn't it? Like, what do you reckon
Yeah.
it took for them to get there?
I think it was
To
like
go,
60 years later that it was. I think it was abolished.
like,
Or hanging
witchcraft
and stuff
actually
like
isn't a
that.
thing.
Oh.
Because let's be honest, we all know witchcraft isn't a thing.
Oh, we don't know that, do we?
Yeah, we do. Well, my personal
Well,
opinion is complete balls.
that's it. We
I
respect
think-
that.
I
I
can
think-
respect others' beliefs, but hey,
Yeah.
So here you
I
go.
think
There were tests that were done on people that were believed to be witches. They used a swimming test, which with her thumbs tied to opposite big toes, she was flung. She was flung into the river. If she floated, she was guilty. If she sank, she was innocent. The thing is, you're gonna float, aren't you? You naturally float, unless you're negative
Yeah.
buoyant.
I don't get how they go. 1 minute though. Remember, you have to tie the thumbs to the opposite toes. That's like a major thing. Like, oh, really? Oh, thanks. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? It's like, what? Why is that a thing?
The image I've got is the scene from Holy Grail. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so it says here the Pendle witches were hanged. So in August 1612, the Pendle witches, 3 generations of one family, were marched through the crown streets of Lancashire and then hanged.
3 generations wiped out, just like that.
Yeah, and the daughter who gassed it up, the 9-year-old daughter. 20 years later, she was done for the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that a bitch?
That's karma.
That is karma.
It
And
always
at the
gets
time,
you.
then, if it was 20 years later, it was 29. So yeah, you're an adult. So we're not technically talking shit about a kid. Like, she was 29 when she got done for it. So, fuck you, boo boo. That's what you get. So, honestly, it's one of those. It's like good old fashioned chat shit, get banged in it. But it's like, I just really, I'm not into the idea of witchcraft at all. I just think it was back in a time where people were so God fearing, they
Yeah.
would get rid of anything that
Oh,
didn't
fuck me.
go
There's
along
an
with the
evil
Bible.
bastard out there. Listen to this. Matthew Hopkins.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Matthew Hopkins' theories of deduction was based on the devil's mark. A wart, a mole, or even a flea bite he took to be the devil's mark, and he used his jabbing needle to see if these marks were insensitive to pain. His needle was a 3-inch long spike which retracted into a sprung-loaded handle so that unfortunate women would never feel the pain.
Is that the Witchfinder General?
Yeah.
Ah.
He was a bastard. Him.
Mm. Well, I'm
There's
screwed
a
then.
film. There's
Right?
actually a film, and it's called The Witchfinder General, I think. Or maybe 1 minute, I'll have a look. And I've watched it, and boy, is he brutal. He pretty much went around the whole of Britain and seen how many people he could kill. In other words, he was like the first serial killer.
Was he worse
Like,
than the Spanish Inquisition?
He got rid of a lot of people. Like, when he was turning up to town,
68 people. He had 68 people put to death in Bury St Edmunds alone, and 19 hanged at Chelmsford in a single day. After Chelmsford, he set off for Norfolk and Suffolk. Eldsborough paid him £6 for clearing the town of witches. King's Lynn 15,
I'll do it for a tenner.
and a Grateful Stowmarket £23. And this
So
was
the film-
this was the
out in, sorry, carry on.
Sorry, and this was the so the normal daily wage was 2.5p, and these people were like the most paid was £23 a day.
And he was getting like loads of money just by going, yeah, she a witch, get rid of her.
Yeah, exactly. So if she looked at him funny, that was it. She was gone.
Gives a kiss, no. Witch! So the film came out in 1968, and it is called The Witchfinder General, and it was a hell of a film. I enjoyed it. Not because it kills witches. Like, don't get it twisted, but it's just a good film. But he was brutal. Like, he was so, the devil was everywhere. Like the slightest thing you done wrong, or like down like to the minutest of stuff, you were pretty much getting executed. He was a twat.
He was basically a religious nut.
Oh, a bit, yeah. So he was like the something a bit. I forgot what they're called. Doesn't matter. If I think about it too much, it'll annoy me.
So this
But
is the first
anyway,
time I've heard
yeah,
of him.
I still went quiet. I think I heard of him. I think that's how I know about witches. Whenever you think of witches, that's who I think of. Matthew Hopkins.
Yeah. I
There's
didn't
like
know his
this.
name.
There's like I feel sorry for the women these days. You know the people who all males, whichever one, say that they're witches and stuff, and they're so open about it. And you think back in the day you wouldn't have. You would have been well quiet. But I just don't get like, oh, people even say there's different types of witches, isn't there? And I always thought, isn't all witchcraft bad witchcraft?
I think
No.
I think it depends on the tensions.
Yeah.
Well, if I was a witch, may I be casting spells and shit like Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Apparently they're wizards, sorry. Wizards. But still, it's
So
like...
it was actually during the English Civil War then? By the Puritans
Yeah.
under Cromwell?
That was it, the Puritans. They were really... They were like Catholic extremists, I think, pretty much. They were like very... You know, you can't do anything, like, pretty much day-to-day activities because God might strike you down for it. And it's like... They literally lived by the Bible's rules, not like... They didn't just go to pray or... You know, didn't sin. They done everything as the Bible said. So, like, they were terrified of, you know, the man upstairs. So whenever it came to anything different, like against their culture, like if they found, like when they went to America and they found a different culture and stuff, you know, they were pretty much, they're not living because it was a different thing. They're not living by our rules. They're obviously, you know, devil worshippers and stuff. Right, kill them all. Like when they went over and started different colonies, they didn't do it in a nice way. And we do have a very dark history about that kind of stuff over here, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like we had a lot of wars to do with, you know, religion and the Bible. And God, we were mean. The way we used to torture and execute people was not pretty.
There's a lot of blood on the British hands.
Oh God, we
Yeah.
don't shadow for that.
A lot.
But we can't even use that in this day and age. Like the EU, what do you bring to the table? We are good at torturing people. We have been known to kill a witch or two. So do you know any witches, Ben?
not personally, no. Probably the only one I know is probably the Wicked Witch of the West. That's about it.
Yeah, she is so misunderstood, right? She's misunderstood. Seems like
Why is
Wicked
she
is
misunderstood?
because Wicked is one of my favourite Broadway shows.
Never seen that.
I have, it's fucking sensational. Anyway, it pretty much tells you the story of Evp'D. In other words, she was born green, right? Because her dad was a bit of a, you know, cheat and shit. And she ended up being born green. So obviously she got picked on growing up and stuff, and all she ever wanted to do was, you know, be like everyone else. But then, you know, oh, the wizard will fix me, he'll change us. And as everyone knows, the Wizard of Oz isn't actually a proper wizard. It's just a magician. So when she meets him and he can't turn her back and stuff, she goes against him and she's like, "You're a liar, you're telling everyone of Oz, and you know, you're lying to the people." And then everyone shunned her for it. So she got cast out, which pissed her off a little bit. But anyway, she's a great witch. She's just misunderstood, the poor lass.
Yeah.
But
You do believe in witches then?
no,
Well,
it's a Broadway
speaking
show. Of
of
course,
witches,
it's not real.
Still watch it.
speaking of witches, I have found one in Staffordshire, apparently.
Oh, he's found one in Dudley. Sorry, Staffordshire. Carry on.
Margaret Molly Lee from 1685 March to 1748 was an English property owner in the Staffordshire town of Burslem, which is in Stoke-on-Trent, who, in her will, left substantial sums to charity. She was also accused of witchcraft, and after her death, Her grave was disturbed following claims she was haunting the town. So yeah.
Well, not being funny,
Okay.
but if you're accused of being a witch, then I would not be funny. I would come back and haunt everybody.
I would be like, oh, you just wait till I'm dead.
I mean, I'm going to do it
So-
anyway.
Oh yeah, I am as well.
But witchcraft in itself is, in this day and age of the people who call themselves witches, like, what are they using it for? What do they do? Because as far as I'm concerned, they don't try and cast spells, or they don't
It depends. No, they do. They actually do.
cast spells to do what? Because half of the ones I know clearly haven't been very good at it because their life isn't getting any better.
Yeah, but it's not for your life. It's for.
I said their life. Their life isn't getting any better, not mine.
Well, I mean, it could be things like they want money. Like it's manifestation, isn't it? It depends on the witch. Like I don't have enough knowledge of what they do. I just seen the shit ones. I mean,
But I have to state though, she was. I have to state she was an eccentric person.
She was,
who
yeah.
kept a-
Oh no, wait, we're talking about someone else. Sorry.
I'm talking about that. I'm talking about that Margaret Lee. She was an eccentric person who kept a pet blackbird or jackdaw, and the bird would often sit on her shoulder when she brought milk into Burslem to sell
I know that's
to the
impressive.
dairy.
Well, I tried looking at witches on our end, and I don't think we have many up here. I know there's a Facebook group, so clearly there's some people, but I've never looked into like.
I mean, I suppose you're never going to really know, are you? Like, if you look back
Oh no.
in like healers and stuff were classed as witches, weren't they? And so doctors would be classed as witches now.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, yeah.
So anybody that used like mushrooms or like the paganism part of it, I think they would be classed as witches. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to get messages after this anyway from witches. So
This is definitely going to go sour.
just remember that
Yeah.
that Ben from Chasing Spirits UK is the person that is chairing this. So don't message me. Or
Or me.
You can message Jamie.
And I've got nothing against witches. I've got nothing against witches.
There
I'm
is
just saying,
there is one witch that I do have something against, and that's sending a demon to my
Yeah.
house. So
Yeah.
I'm just. If you do message me, just be prepared. My opinion is, witches are not real. It's not a thing. It's just herb drinkers and tree huggers.
the funny thing is though, right? The funny thing is though, what's the difference between a witch and a wizard?
One's male
One
and one's
female.
female.
No, because you can get male witches.
Well, a wizard is pretty much just like a cool dude, wears cool outfits, casts spells and shit from a wand.
Let's ask our friend Google.
It gets
Right,
played
so
Quidditch.
why Mike is googling it, because that's what he does best. That's his thing. Is
One
just
of
don't believe it's real.
one of my main things.
Yeah, I just don't believe it's real. You can believe in what you want. That's totally fine with me. Just don't come speak to me about it, because I'm not going to believe you in any way, shape, or form. But
Unless you fly over to his house on a broomstick.
and then I'll set the dog on you. But other than that, it's fine. But you believe what you want to believe. I am really against it. I don't think it's a thing at all.
But when we went to where is it? That place in Northumberland, something Castle.
Fucking, you're asking now.
Is it Edlingham Castle?
I have no idea.
The one where the walls falling off.
Oh, that's because Judy said there was a witch there.
Yeah, but you said if you're real,
Don't,
come on,
right,
your broomstick,
right.
so I can kick you off it.
Why would you say it on the podcast?
You
In all
said it a
fairness, right,
video.
I said it because I was trying to wind the spirit up, because apparently this witch is there and she wasn't very nice. So I said, get on your broomstick so I can boot you off it. I was just trying to wind her up. And it worked because a stone got through at Michael, so it worked.
Yeah,
But
you piss her off and I get through at me.
I have I not said this before though, guys? That I'm just there to piss things off and leave and let everyone else deal with it. That's
Yeah, we
literally
know
what I
this.
do.
We know
Turn
this.
up, turn up, piss everyone off, leave.
Yeah, that's my job. I turn up, I piss whatever's there off, and I go,
Oh,
right,
fuck
you
me.
do it
This
now.
is actually accurate. This is. Witches and wizards are people thought to possess magical powers or to command spiritual forces. Sorry, supernatural forces. They appear
Like
in.
what?
Hang on. They appear in myth and folklore of many cultures. The word witch usually refers to a female, though male witches exist in some traditions. Men who possess the powers associated with witchcraft are also known as wizards or warlocks. In many
That's
myths,
the warlock.
and legends, witches are evil, dishonest, and dangerous.
Oh, I know one of those.
Some cultures
Yeah, but what about? Yeah.
Some cultures do not consider them fully human. If you're
I
evil,
got a feeling this is taking a
you
turn.
turn, yeah, I might tag her in it. If not,
Here we go.
if not evil by nature, witches may be possessed by demons or wicked. Jesus Christ. Witches may be possessed by demons or wicked spirits determined to harm humans. Yeah,
I feel the Mike's just venting. He's just venting.
yeah, invented this one. Men and women may learn magic for the purpose of hurting others. Such people are sometimes called sorcerers and sorceresses rather than wizards or witches. Well, that's accurate, isn't it? Let me
We
just.
know one of those.
I wonder if that's one of her exes that has written this. No, it's not.
Probably.
It's not Wikipedia.
What about white witches though?
Oh.
Oh.
Any witches?
Oh, listen
I
to
don't
this.
believe
This
in.
is even better.
fucking hell.
Both kind of witches, it is easy to tell them apart. The wicked witches is an old hag dressed in black, while the anyway, funny.
Just amused himself, hasn't he? He's really amused
Yeah,
himself.
I'm going to read this. It's funny. I should have looked at this before. If anybody would like to know if they're going out with a witch, I can send you the link to this.
Mike has experience.
Yeah.
Well, I just.
And if you listen to this, please don't message me again.
I will send the cat over.
You know who you are. Please don't message me again. Your messages are ridiculous and pointless, just like our relationship. Anyway, moving on.
And your witchcraft. And your witchcraft.
Aye, beat me to it.
Yeah.
If
Anyway.
you wonder what Mike's on about, Mike has got some venting to do, guys. Just bear with him.
It's getting better.
He's getting there.
This is the IVP myself therapy session.
Yeah. Shut up, Ben.
We talk about witches and Mike ends up just venting. But
And-
it's I just think it's a very far-fetched thing, isn't it, really?
I mean, it'd be pretty cool if it was true, though, wouldn't it?
No.
Well, it would.
Because whenever in history have you ever heard witchcraft turn out to be good?
No, I know, but just imagine if Harry Potter was real. That'd be amazing. Coco
Fuck
and
no.
Giorgio.
How's that any good at all? Mate, I've got arachnophobia. Have you seen Chamber of Secrets, the size of the spiders in that bastard? That would not be good for me at all, son.
I mean, it's weird, though, isn't it? When you look at Merlin from, like, King Arthur and
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, that,
He's a wizard.
I mean, I believe that.
What?
Yeah, I believe in King Arthur.
I'm not even surprised, you know. I'm not even saying you're going to be shocked. I'm not even surprised. I'm really
Yeah,
not.
but it's a possibility.
Oh, fucking hell, you're jumping on a bandwagon as well.
I mean, it
No,
could.
but the sword lifted from the, yeah.
I mean, the thing, if you think about it, it could have just been King Alfred, because they talk about, like, obviously getting rid of the Vikings and all that kind of stuff, and it wouldn't be so far-fetched for the name to be misconstrued by somebody, and King Arthur, like King Alfred, just been given the name of King Arthur, like,
Knights of the Round Table.
yeah. So Yeah, I know, but if you think about it, like if you go to Winchester, there's a round table in his where they believe his there's Alfred I'm on about in his
Oh, right. I was wondering.
in his castle,
Winchester. Where the fuck's Winchester?
just down the road from me.
Oh, it's on the other end of the country for us.
Yeah. You're more I think you would be under Northumbria. So you would be under his daughter's rule.
Yeah, let's go for the daughter.
She was sex crazed, she was crazy.
Typical Geordie.
Ben?
Well, she was from
Yourself, what about
she was from Midlands, wasn't she?
All right.
So's Ben.
Typical.
Yeah.
Geordian.
Yeah. Typical Coventry person.
Ben's
from
got to get
Coventry.
triggered. I'm not from fucking Midlands. Ben's going to start taking up witchcraft soon against us if we carry on about him being from Dudley.
He's going to have to join the queue. I've got plenty of hexes on me, thanks.
Do you remember, see, I've said that though, haven't I? Like when we've done lives and stuff before and spoke to people who apparently think they're witches, and I keep saying to them, try it. Just do it. I'm giving you. Because you're sitting there getting triggered. I will openly let you try any hex or anything. See how it goes. And they always say, no. Yeah, I wonder why you say no.
Because you can't do it.
Because you can't. You're shit at it. I can conjure up something better than you. Give me a Yorkshire tea bag and a cup of water. Watch me smash out this magic shit, honestly.
You can make that tea bag wee in your water.
Honestly, mate. Why is it always herbs though? It's always like herbs and stuff they need or use. Like,
Well, it's because it's natural, isn't it? And they're saying it comes from the earth.
well, if they're using stuff that comes from the earth to cast spells and shit, right? You don't want to bury them, do you? Because then you're putting them in the thing that they wanted to use. So I can see why you're setting fire to them.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably why they set fire to them.
Yeah, but then when they do their spells, like some of their spells, they put them in the they bury them in like glass things and bury them, don't they?
No idea.
Do they?
Yeah.
So like they'll do a spell.
I mean, if they went into a certain person's house, back garden, and started digging around in there, they'd find all kinds of shit. Probably bits of my hair. And I mean, I don't have a lot of that as it is.
Not mine, the one I got a backyard. It's concrete.
So that,
The only thing you're gonna find in my backyard is a wheelie bin, 2 recycle bins, on a camera watching you going in my back garden. So
shitload of empty pizza boxes.
no, but yeah. So I think the most famous one in Britain when it comes to witches is probably Pendle Hill. I mean, everyone. If you watch British Paranormal Investigators, they always big up going to investigate before they go. They're always like, guys, I've got something big coming. Something massive's happening. And then they go, oh, we went to Pendle Hill. And you're like, you motherfucker, you had me gone for a bit there.
To be honest, I wouldn't want to go up Pendle.
Because it's a hill.
Boring. All right, then Pendle Village.
See, like, I wouldn't go to Cannock either because like that's famous for being haunted. But you can't even walk in a straight line with Ben because he has no fucking idea where he's going.
Did that one falling over?
That was amazing. Still amazing. Maybe that's because someone put a hex on you and didn't let you use your legs that night.
No, I think it's just the fact that I'm clumsy.
I think if we were talking about mythical creatures and stuff, what we'd all be, Ben would definitely be a hobbit, straight up. He's
my
like
God.
4'11" at the best. He's
I'm 5'5" actually.
you lying twat.
Oh, no, 5'5", but I might be a bit shorter because of.
Take your trainers off when you're in boots. Are cheating.
I'm probably like 5'4", maybe. I'm taller than Janet, so.
So if back in the day, right? If we're let's try and get back. So if we were talking about back in the day, do you reckon any of us would have been classed as witches?
I would have.
I would have.
Yeah, you're left-handed. I
Probably-
would have burnt you straight away. Michael, you're my own brother, and I would have set fire to you.
As a medium, yeah.
So yeah, is that because like you class as contacting the dead?
Yeah. It's devil
Yeah.
work, isn't it?
But would you tell people you're a medium?
He doesn't know.
I wouldn't.
So then you'd be alright.
I'd tell people he is.
Yeah, short grass.
I'm not telling him he's from Dudley. As I said, fight him just for that. Only York. So, because when I think about history and stuff, and I think back in the day, there's no way I would have survived. I would have been charged for something.
Yeah, but you've got ADHD, so that would be classed as witchcraft as well.
Yeah.
They don't even know what ADHD was then.
Yeah, but you'd be different.
pretty-
You'd be different. That's the point. That's what they're saying, isn't it? Anybody
I
that
could
isn't.
blend in.
Yeah, go on then.
You're a psychopath?
You definitely can't tell that I've got it. Like, it's
Yeah,
not
you
a
can.
straight up thing.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you
Right, fuck you lot then.
See? There you go.
can. See?
If anything, I would have been more screwed in the Victorian era than anywhere
Yeah.
else.
You'd have been put in an institute, you.
Yeah, in the Victorian era, I definitely would have been more knackered than I would have been back in the day. I would have been lobotomized and everything.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Shout out Queen Vic. You missed this one. Coming to an institute near you. I do, because like we've been to a few places where like people have obviously been locked up and stuff. Not me and Michael, like museums and
That's
stuff.
it.
Lass, and it. She likes to point out that I would have been screwed back in the day. Like, oh look,
Yeah.
this person's this. It's now known as ADHD. And I'm like, thanks for letting me know that I'm slightly deluded.
You would have been royally.
Slightly.
Well, at least I'm not as deluded as thinking I'm a witch.
True.
Shout out to those witches. Anyway, guys, on that note,
yeah.
I'm just saying, believe in what you want to believe. I'm totally okay with that. It's just my belief is
Yeah.
it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so guys, that's another episode done. Thank you for listening and thank you for tuning in. There's been another episode where we were meant to talk about Pendle and completely went off topic like we always do and just started talking about people being deluded in general. So,
Mainly you.
yeah, I started talking about how they're deluded. Mike had a vent that he needed to do. Ben was like, I'm going to go and research a local witch. So no doubt, guys, watch out for that YouTube video he will be making.
If he ever decides to make any more YouTube videos.
I could better do.
Doesn't even do any
I
lives
will
anymore.
do at some point. I'll be back.
Yeah, okay. So, so guys, thank you. So, from me, Jamie,
Me,
and the
Ben.
rest of the gang.
You, have
Ben
one-
and Michael, by
you,
the
lit-
way.
you literally have one job, guys.
Like, come on. So, for me, Jamie,
Me, Ben.
Me, Michael.
And me, Mike.
Yay.
shall see- there we go. We shall we shall see you on the next one. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.